And welcome back to another edition of WWERAW 10 right here on the Wrestle Debate. Everyone's favourite show is back for another edition, and believe it or not, it is the go-home show for WrestleMania Backlash. Not that WWE really bother with go-home shows anymore, but it still feels good to bring it up. So let's get straight into it. And we started things off with the women's division. Charlotte Flair was in the ring, and she was teaming up with the tag team champions to take on Asuka, Mandy and Dana. Jackson Rose kicked off the match early on. Charlie tried to get a distraction in before Alexa Bliss showed up at ringside and told someone to keep an eye on Lily. After the commercial breaks, the tag team champions were in control again and got a near fall on Rose before Alexa and Lily looked on. Brooke came in and got a near fall on Shayna. Shayna struggled to reach her partner, and Asuka came in and pinned her with the Shining Wizard. Flair knocked Asuka out of the ring after the match, and Alexa giggled. I'll give this a 6 out of 10. Interesting start to Raw. Good to see Alexa Bliss finally getting interrogated into the women's division. Backstage, the New Day were told by Riddle that RK Bro are now registered as a tag team. Then they walked, hitting Elias and Riker with bromatos before Randy showed up and talked about ending people's careers and setting fire to people. MVP then approached Strowman's locker room backstage and went in trying to negotiate a deal. MVP wanted Braun to injure Drew McIntyre so he couldn't be involved in the WrestleMania Backlash. Strowman would then get a one-on-one match before Miz and Morrison met with Adam Pearce backstage, where Damian Priest offered to let Morrison pick the stipulation for Priest's bout at WrestleMania Backlash if he won, before we then got Jinder Mahal returning to Raw with his associates Veer and Shanky. Jinder unloaded on Jeff Hardy, who he was facing, before Hardy hit Mahal with a jawbreaker. Hardy came back into this match with an axe handle. However, Jinder picked up a coloss for the win pretty quickly. I'll give this a 6 out of 10. Nice to see Jinder back. I actually don't mind him. He's a good heel, but poor old Jeff, man. Time for RK Bro, the New Day versus AJ Styles, Omos, Elias and Riker. Elias and Riddle kicked off the match and nearly got a armbar early on. Riker was tagged in and Riddle took him down before Omos came in, and he wasted no time in tossing the original bro around. Woods and Kofi were then taken down by Omos, and back after the break, Styles tagged in and was beating up Riddle before Kofi and Woods came in and got a near fall. Riker then got a near fall onwards before Omos took everyone out. New Day taunted Omos by rolling AJ around on the floor. Randy hit the RKO on Elias off the distraction to get the win. I'll give this a 6 out of 10. It was an interesting match, I suppose you could say. After the match, Randy hit RKO on the New Day before walking out. Backstage, Sonya Deville sanctioned a WrestleMania rematch between Asuka and Ripley on Raw. Then backstage, MVP and Lashley were confident that Bobby would beat Drew later today. Sheamus was out next and said that his title challenger would have to earn the opportunity, which is when Humberto Carrillo came out, and they quickly got involved in the match. Humberto started off strong and sent Sheamus outside with a dropkick, but was tossed into the timekeeper's area. Back on the show, Sheamus tried for a submission, but Carrillo got out. Sheamus missed a white noise and Humberto turned it into Hurricane Rana before Carrillo tried a sunset flip powerbomb from the apron and managed to hit it, but injured himself in the process, leading to a no DQ. I'll give it 6 out of 10. I'm kind of enjoying what they're doing with the US title stuff. The question is, I just don't know if his injury was legitimate or not. I'll have to read some of the dirt sheets later, I suppose. Up, it was Cedric Alexander versus Shelton Benjamin. The two former Hurt Business members faced each other for the first time since their falling out last week. Benjamin focused on the lower legs and back of Alexander and beat Cedric up early on. Shelton caught Cedric with a huge knee for a knee ground, while Alexander hit a dive to the outside. Shelton went for the pay dirt, but Cedric countered. Cedric hit the drop board and springboard high kick before taunting Shelton. Benjamin, however, managed to hit the T-bone for the win. 5 out of 10. Why did you have to break these guys up? They were so good. The match was alright though. But anyway, next up on Raw, backstage, Drew Gulak was furious about the embarrassment that Garza caused him last week. Garza said in return that he would shove a rose down his throat. That's the attitude. Before we got Rhea Ripley versus Asuka. Asuka was out for an only armbar before Ripley found the ropes with her feet. Asuka managed the hip attack on the apron before Charlotte came out. Rhea got distracted and was caught with a backhand before Charlotte was on commentary and Rhea still had control of the match. Rhea was outside of the ring and she and Flair got in each other's faces before Asuka nearly pinned her off the distraction. Ripley managed to hit the Riptide for the win. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. Like, where the hell was Charlotte even interrupting? Surely they just want her to beat the shit out of the two of them. McIntyre said he was confident about winning the title back at WrestleMania Backlash before Damian Priest took on John Morrison. Priest landed the slide walk slam early on, causing a near fall before Priest hit Morrison with a rolling high kick and took him down. Priest dominated the match before hitting a broken arrow for a near fall. Morrison nearly pinned Priest with a crucifix, but The Miz unfortunately distracted the referee. Priest got the highlights and picked up the win. Priest chose a lumberjack match for his WrestleMania Backlash match. I'll give this a 6 out of 10. This was entertaining enough. Before it was main event time, Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. Drew was caught in a headlock early on, but broke free, taking a net laker. Drew hit chops in a corner before the match, went outside, where McIntyre hit a huge suplex on the floor. After a commercial break, Lashley got back in control of the match and sent McIntyre outside of the floor with a big tackle. Lashley sent Drew into the seal post before Drew countered. Drew hit a few suplexes and the spine buster, but the WWE champ kicked out. Lashley went for the hurt lock, but took the claymore right away when Strowman made his entrance and hit a power slam on Drew behind. Braun perpetrated to shake hands with Lashley before hitting him with 1-2 and then one more on Drew. He then sent Lashley through the barricades before walking to the ring one last time to power slam on Braun. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. Like, the match is alright, but why was Strowman interfering halfway through the match? Just keep on going. There's a severe lack of logic in WWE at the moment, but anyway. This week, Raw gets a 6 out of 10 from me. For me, this Raw wasn't awful. Well, when I say awful, it wasn't as bad as how it's been recently. You know, there were some decent aspects in there, but on the whole, it still wasn't the greatest thing I've ever seen. And, you know, it just still does need a bit more logic on it, to be honest. But anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. And to follow me on Twitter, link in the description below for daily wrestling news. And subscribe to my channel on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching.